The world was shocked when we all found out about King Charles' cancer diagnosis. And so, what I'm doing is I'm going to be looking through the charts of some of the royal family members just to kind of get a sense of the astrological energies, how this whole scenario might be influencing each one of these family members. We just recently did the chart of Prince William. And today we're going to be talking about Prince Harry because Prince Harry has been a big focus, especially for the last couple of years when he renounced his royal duties. He moved to the United States, and then he came out with these exposés, and now he's finding out that his father has this cancer diagnosis. So this has got to be an incredibly awkward position to be in right now. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. For those of you that are interested, make sure you like and subscribe. By the way, this is Vedic sidereal astrology. It's different than a traditional tropical astrology. So your sign may be different using this version of astrology. Remember, this version of astrology is from ancient India. Also, if you're interested in a private reading, check down below for details. And also, I just want to say thank you to all of the new subs, and of course all of my patrons that have been supporting the channel. Thank you very much. I appreciate all of you. All right, let's go ahead and pull up Prince Harry's chart. For those of you that are new to this, you're going to look at a Vedic astrology chart. It's a little different than what you might have seen on some of the Western astrology channels. It's a square looking chart. By the way, quick disclaimer, all these statements about Prince Harry, these are all allegedlys, and we're just speculating as to the astrological energies here in the chart. So, what we're going to be focusing on today is we're going to be focusing on what type of planetary period is Prince Harry in, and also the planetary transits that are relevant right now as of this cancer diagnosis that his father has, the king, of course. Let's take a look at that. What I found very interesting is that he is about to do have a really big change on March 11th. Huge change. And I feel that this could definitely be a trigger point to some things happening with his family. So we're going to talk about that. We're really going to break that down. So in Vedic astrology, we use the Vimshatari Dasha. I call it planetary timeline, so it's easy to understand. So, during different periods of your life, you're always on a planetary timeline. So in a couple of weeks here, 2 to 3 weeks, on March 11th, Prince Harry is going to be entering Mars Antardasha. So we're going to focus on that because that's the huge change. Mars Antardasha. Okay. Now, this is the sub period, but remember, this is the acute energy. And Mars is such a powerful planet. And if we look at in Prince Harry's chart, it's in the sign of Scorpio. So that makes the planet incredibly powerful. So let's talk about what does Mars mean? Because when we're looking at the planetary timeline, we first want to look at what does the planet itself represent? And then we also want to see, okay, what houses does it rule? And then we also want to see, what other aspects are happening with the planetary transit. So let's take a look at that. I'm going to pull up a slide for you all. So this is quite intense. So I feel like he's leaving this moon period. He's entering the Mars period within a couple of weeks. This suggests, by the way, that there's gonna be a lot of quick start action very fast within the next month. There's gonna be a lot of things taking place very quickly here. So big changes are coming. Okay, so we're going to see this, I believe, in the first half of March. And also keep in mind, there's eclipses happening at the end of March and also the beginning of April. So we are heading into a very volatile period. The old saying is, beware of the Ides of March. So Mars Antardasha for Prince Harry is going to be March 11th, 2024 to March 30th, 2025. This is about a year long. And this is going to be a very turbulent, crazy period for Prince Harry. So Mars is the planet, first of all, of action, force, just like I say in the slide here, forward movement, pioneering, new birth. It even represents brothers. So if we're thinking about Prince William and it represents competitors. Okay. A lot of times during Mars periods, I'll see somebody will either enter some sort of conflict or somebody will even move house. So there's different aspects of this. Now Mars is in the 12th house of Harry's chart and it rules the 12th house. So that is very powerful, that meaning right there. So Mars is in the 12th house and the 12th house represents things like foreign lands. And think about it, where does Prince Harry live right now? In his mind, he lives, well, he lives in a foreign country. He lives in the United States. He's from the United Kingdom, so he's in a foreign country. um, and this is what Mars represents. So this could represent even trouble within the foreign country that he's in. Okay, there's some sort of conflict, there's some sort of difficulty that's happening there. The 12th house also represents endings and losses, retirement, letting go of things. Mars is with K2 in the chart. Let's go ahead and take a look at that because I don't know if I brought that up. Let's go ahead and pull that back up. So there's Mars. Mars is in the 12th house, endings, foreign lands. The 12th house can be spirituality, by the way, but it's also with K2. This is so intense right here. So 12th house represents losses and endings. K2 can represent endings and losses, things being removed. This is going to be a difficult emotional time for Prince Harry. So if we're thinking about the health of the king and we're thinking about, we just looked at Prince William's chart and we're seeing some really intense energies about extra responsibility being added to Prince William. And now we're seeing in Prince Harry that there's some sort of losses that are happening here in the very near future. Okay. So we possibly will see this even starting in March or April. Sometimes it takes a couple of months of overlap. But the reason why I think March is so powerful is because of the eclipses that are going to be happening. So it's going to be almost a doubly emphasized here. This is a difficult situation to be in. We're going to break this down even more because K2, what it represents is karma from past lives. So there's also this idea of like karmic completion. And then Mars is bringing up this idea of brothers, conflict with the brothers. So I was actually thinking about this, could there be, if the king was to abdicate or something like this, how would this influence his relationship with Prince William? There could be a lot of conflict. There could be a lot of blame. There could be a lot of resentment. Mars a lot of times is the planet of blame. Planet of blame. It represents just kind of blame, vindictiveness. There could be a lot of blame. Like maybe someone, puts out the accusation, you weren't there for the family. You weren't, all these kind of statements could be made during this period. Let's go ahead and put the slide back up so we can discuss this more. So K2, by the way, can bring about very painful endings. These are very karmic endings where it's like we don't want to let go, but we're kind of forced to let go. Difficulty in foreign lands. Whatever's going on, he's facing some sort of difficulty within the United States as well. Okay. And this could be difficulty literally in the country that he's in. So for example, United States right now is very politically divided. There's a lot of drama going on with those kind of aspects. So it might become a little bit unstable, even from Prince Harry's point of view. So let's go ahead and pull that slide up. The other thing I want to point out, and this is a very intense period. If any of you ever go through this period of where eighth from moon gets activated, this is an intense emotional period too. So let me show that in the chart here. So this Mars period is also known as eighth from moon, and I'm going to show you in the chart. So if we made the moon the first house, that would be what the moon chart is. So, and I'm going to take you all the way over here. This is the moon chart. So see, the moon is the first house here. And if we look at what is the eighth house from the moon, it's Mars. So Mars is in the eighth house from moon and it rules eighth house from moon. So this is going to be an incredible time of losses, upheaval, and shock because we have the 12th house from the main chart. Then we have the eighth from moon. Eighth from moon is something that is emotionally shocking. This can be like emotional devastation. Very difficult transit. Also, So eighth from moon has several different things. A lot of times there's emotional stability. Remember, he's in a moon period. Despite all the drama with him and releasing Spare last year and, the Oprah interview and all the things that went on, he might have had a certain degree of normalcy or a certain degree of stability. Like maybe he set up his life in the US and it seems kind of stable, but this is bringing in massive instability. Okay. So whatever stability he's been able to achieve, this is putting it all in the chaos. Okay. Um, a lot of times during periods eighth from moon, there's this idea of destruction of shelter and a rebuilding of a new shelter. So symbolically, that can represent moving house. So like literally leaving where you're at because things get metaphorically destroyed and you leave. And this can be on an emotional level, a mental level. This could be with the relationship with his spouse. We'll talk about that in a moment because there's a difficult transit as well. We're mostly focused on his relationship with his father, but I do feel I have to bring this up that this is influencing the marriage situation as well. Okay. So this is like every bit of like emotion, emotional triggers that you can think of just getting hit from all sides. So this is a very heavy period. Let's talk about the marriage real quick because I do feel like that's going to take an impact. Now we can speculate that if King Charles has to abdicate, or even, if King Charles, like maybe he's just having a difficult time. And so Prince Harry is having to visit. I know Prince Harry just recently visited and he wanted to reassure everyone that he loves his family. And people were trying to ask him about, I guess, this kind of cancer and things. And he says he's not going to say. But we could assume that if there's a treatment going on, that Prince Harry's going to go back and forth. Well, I feel like this is going to have a negative effect on his relationship in his home life. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Now, one of the things that's difficult is transiting Rahu is in the fourth house, and Rahu can be a malefic planet. And fourth house represents your home life or your sense of home. So Rahu's disturbing that. Okay. So think of Rahu in the ancient times, they literally said Rahu's like a demon. Okay. So even though Rahu can bring in certain advantages at certain times, Rahu is mostly considered a malefic planet. So it's going through the fourth house. It's bringing in this difficult energy to the home life. Now, the other thing I wanted to point out was transiting Rahu's going through the 12th house of the moon chart. And I think I said the moon chart earlier. It's going through the 7th house of the Navamsa chart, okay, which represents negative effects on the marriage. The Navamsa chart's a supplemental chart that we have. So I feel like this is going to be negatively affecting. There's a lot of losses happening. Disturbance of the home life over here. We have losses and endings. Okay, disturbance of family life is really fourth house. And then we have this disturbance in the Navamsa chart of Rahu going to the 7th house of the Navamsa. It's like we have this difficult aspect to the marriage. Okay, so this could be bringing in a lot of pressure. Now, I don't know how the royal family is working right now with Prince Harry, renouncing his duties and whatnot. But let's say that, Prince William gets more duties handed to him, and then maybe he has to call up, Prince William calls up Prince Harry and says, hey, we need you back. We need you to start doing these things. And, how would Meghan handle these things? If Prince Harry's starting to go back and forth, Prince Harry's starting to kind of like try to make things better with his family. He's trying to better his relationship with Prince William. So that could have a negative impact on his life here in the United States. So we have to keep that in consideration. I feel like during this year of 2024, there's going to be a lot of pressure to go back home. I feel like he's going to have a lot of pressure to go back home. And it's going to be difficult for the marriage as well because of K2. A lot of times with a Mars or K2 period with K2, it can represent a breakup or something. And I feel like that's where it could be heading. Let's go to this chart again. And I said Rahu is in 7th from moon. That's at the bottom of the slide. It's Rahu's in the 7th house of the Navamsa chart. So that was a mistake there. Now, We also have to consider transiting Saturn is in the third house. And let me pull that up. Remember, transiting Saturn is in the sign of Aquarius until March of 2025. So transiting Saturn is right here in the third house. And third house, if you all remember, and also look at this, the 11th house of the moon chart, which is older brothers, and third house represents siblings as well. So that's interesting. But Saturn in the third house is going to represent difficulty with siblings, and obviously that's Prince William. So difficulty, but also it represents being forced to deal with your sibling. So regardless of what's going on, and we're hoping that King Charles, everything turns out okay, but he may be forced, even if his relationship isn't the greatest with Prince William, he may be being forced to work on that relationship. Also, Saturn in the third house is going to create a certain amount of pessimism with Prince Harry. There's kind of a negative outlook on things, since third house can represent your mindset. It's in the 11th house, representing the older sibling. So I do feel like there's going to be some things that are happening this year where they're going to be forced to come to some sort of compromise. They're going to be forced. And, there might be, it might not be an easy process. It might be that there's several attempts to really try to make this relationship better. But I do feel like this is kind of having a negative effect on his home life and the relationship, but he's being forced to, So if we saw King Charles abdicate in the near future and we saw Prince William become King William, I mean, it could be a very difficult road. Prince William could be seeing Prince Harry as like somebody who is disloyal to the royal family. So it's going to be hard. Remember though, in 2025, when Prince Harry enters that Jupiter period, I do feel like he's going to be returning home, and I feel like it's going to be permanent. I feel that this year is going to be the troublesome year for Harry and Meghan. It's going to be a very volatile year. And if they make it through this year, I will be quite surprised, because the energies are just pulling them apart. If we look at Meghan's chart's kind of like, she's kind of in a different place on her chart. And then Prince Harry is just kind of in this, he's definitely going to have a lot of emotional devastation during this period. And, this makes me feel even talking about this on a YouTube video, I almost feel like this is very personal to really be revealing this about Prince Harry, but this is going to be really impactful and really intense. I'm going to be definitely wishing the best for Prince Harry. Now, I also want to show you, and I went to the wrong slide here. Let me go ahead and pull up this slide. The eclipses, remember, so March 11th, that's going to be an important date. You want to mark that on your calendar for those of you that are like royal family, like you love to keep track. So March 11th, when he enters this Mars period, that's going to be a trigger point. But also any of these eclipse dates this year, because remember, he's going to be in the Mars period for all of 2024, all the way till March of 2025. So during all these eclipse dates, which are going to be in the fourth house and the 10th house, this is affecting his home life, all these eclipses. Okay. Also affecting fourth house can represent homeland as well. So lots of issues happening in the homeland and home life. Okay. So all these dates right here, just like we talked about in Prince William's, March 25th, April 8th, September 18th, October 2nd, those are going to be potential dates where we could see some really big changes happening. Okay. And especially with this Mars and K2 together in the 12th house, we could hear about some separations or some sort of move happening around these dates. So we got to really watch out for these. We're going to hear, definitely, this is what I'm feeling. I'm feeling we're going to hear some shocking news this year with Harry and Meghan. So we'll keep our eyes open. And of course, I'm going to be producing videos as this whole thing unfolds. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think down below, and take care. And I'll see you all in the next one.